Welcome to another episode of Real Talk's Top 6. This week we'll be talking about games from the past.
Put an animation there.
Games of the past. Get on it, Jared. At number 6, we have put a game that I think we all remember playing, but have simultaneously all forgotten about. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. From back when tie-in games didn't suck so much. Usually. Okay, they were still bad. But this one was good. I actually remember a lot about Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, gameplay-wise. I even remember the HUD, because the HUD you had like a jelly bean counter in the top corner, and it was like a long blue health bar at the bottom, and you healed by drinking Wiggenweld potion. All your spells and potions to X, square, triangle, and circle. Because if you ever unequipped it Flipendo, you're an idiot.
I'm so impressed that you remember the spells as well, like Flipendo. I remember Flipendo actually.
Yeah, you hold square, obviously, because, you're not a monster. And you charge it, and then just before it blows up in your face, it turns purple, and that's like Ultra Flipendo. That's what you did to blow up the big stuff. Yeah, to explode. It was great stuff. It was a great game. It sort of vaguely followed the plot of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, the book and movie, but like nobody played it for the storyline. It was all you could adventure at the castle, and later on when you did your flying lessons, you got a broom, and you could equip a broom, and you could just fly around the grounds, and you could like land on different parts of the castle to get collectibles and stuff.
Did I ever finish that game? Because I do.
No, I don't think anyone's ever finished a Harry Potter game ever.
I
genuinely
do not remember being able to get a broom. All I remember is like remembering that the platforming in that game was janky as hell.
Oh yeah, it sucks. But it was really, really fun, and I just remember like playing it for hours and hours and hours as a kid. I think I must have had that game for like fucking 10 years on the PS2. And I remember, this is just from my childhood, where I'd convinced myself and my brother that, because we'd had the disc for so long and we were like 7 or 8, that the reason the PlayStation 2 wouldn't work was because we were watching it load, not because the disc was fucked. And that's why it's number 6 on this list. Because I loved that game, and I still do, and I'm going out to buy a PlayStation 2. On to you, Jared.
What was the next one? The next
Halo.
One. Halo. The Halo Evolved. It's actually kind of wearing fucking Xbox shirt. Coming in at number 5 is Halo Combat Evolved. I actually did not know that it was called Halo Combat Evolved. I honestly just thought it was just Halo. So Halo Combat Evolved is a big game. If you don't know what Halo is, it was the poster child for Xbox when Xbox was released. When was Xbox released? Like 19 something?
Oh, it'd be 2000 something.
It's like 2000 something. I still remember.
I'm fact checking, Jared.
You're fact checking?
Yeah.
But I remember when, I got the game for the first time. I actually remember playing it for the first time on
2001.
It came out 2001. I remember when the original Xbox, the green Xbox, came out, and my brother bringing it home and bringing home Halo Combat Evolved, bringing home the first Halo game. And I remember the multiplayer. I remember the ice planet that you play multiplayer on, going through the portals. Remember falling in love with just the gameplay itself. It was so much fun. It was so violent. And I remember playing it every day, pretty much every day before school. I would get up in the morning, play at least the first 2 levels, and then go to school. And a lot of my friends had it when I was growing up, because I remember what we used to do was we used to just go over to each other's house and just play Xbox, play Halo. It was great. One of the great things about that game was the gameplay itself, where you play as the Master Chief, and you go out and you fight aliens. You fight against the Covenant when they're trying to destroy the Earth, and your job is you have to go and fight the Covenant, save Earth from these mysterious Halo rings that just show up out of nowhere. And then you end up also fighting probably one of the creepiest alien designs and alien creatures in, I think, gaming history.
2001 graphics.
And in 2000, the Flood. I still remember when the Flood was introduced in that game, and that was like a horror scene for a little child. So yeah, that's my game.
Number 4 is Assassin's Creed, where you follow people around and don't make it weird. Now, Assassin's Creed being at number 4 will upset some people. But as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure as far as Jared's concerned,
It's a good game.
yeah.
It's a great
See,
fucking game.
it doesn't really matter where it went and like where it is now. Personally, I don't mind the whole Valhalla Origins. Okay, Odyssey was a bit shit, but I like where they've gone with it. But it all started here. It all started at Assassin's Creed 1, where realistically, if you take a step back and you look at it from like a I guess a professional reviewing perspective, it is the same gameplay on repeat. You go in and then you do like a follow mission, and then you do like a listening in mission, and then you do and it all leads up to an assassination, which you do, but each one is like a different challenge and a different environment, and there's different tactics for getting in, and then they've taken the game, like the combat was really scaled back in that, because it really encouraged you to be stealthy and sneaky. And I just remember the first time I picked it up was actually, I was at my uncle's, and he had, I think he might even have had it on, like, might have been PS3, it might have been Xbox. He had a copy, and I was staying there for a couple of days, and I was like, oh, do you mind if I give this a go? And I started playing it, and I fucking loved it. The second I left, I went to the nearest game store and I bought myself a copy. I have bought every single iteration of Assassin's Creed ever since. Without fail, I have finished every single one, at least the story mode. I have platinumed a few. Assassin's Creed 2 was my first platinum trophy ever. Do you know what? They'll release one next year and I'll buy that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed. Number 4, fucking great. I'm going to stop, otherwise I'm going to talk about the entire series for the rest of the day.
That's very fair.
Back to Jared.
That's very fair. Coming in at number 3, Lego Star Wars. Lego Star Wars is number 3 on the list for me, because I just remember it being one of the games that I remember losing sleep over, and absolutely just being so... I loved Lego and I loved Star Wars as a kid. You put those two things together and you got probably one of the best co-op games like on PlayStation at the time. A little bit about the gameplay was that, yeah, obviously it was co-op, and it went through, especially the first game, it was from episode 1 through to 3, and it was just really cool, and it took you on the story of from Phantom Menace all the way to episode 3, being able to unlock different characters. And I remember the HUD world being Dexter's Cantina. And I remember it's probably one of the most memorable HUD worlds. And also the more time that you spent on it, and the more coins that you collected, the better opportunity you got to buy characters back at the HUD world, so that you could find all the collectibles and build all the ships, collect all the coins, and try and get true Jedi on every single level that you could. Lego Star Wars holds a place in my heart as a Star Wars fan, but also as a video game fan. And I think it holds and I think it probably does for a lot of other Star Wars fans as well.
I agree. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
At number 2, we have got a video game that, for a character that became sort of the mascot of the PlayStation at the time, it came from a studio called Naughty Dog. You may have heard of it. It's called Crash Bandicoot. Now, Crash Bandicoot was one of the original platforming games of like the PS1 era, and even the sequels that came out afterwards just sort of expanded on top of what was undoubtedly sort of the perfect platforming game. It was not the easiest at the time, but it was very fun. It had a great sense of humor, the art direction, the characters were all good. You used to just sort of each level would be an almost straight line with like different challenges and different platforms and enemies and things you had to get over and climb through, and you had to like break some crates and collect the apples, and when you got 100 apples you got another life, and when you lost your life it was game over, you had to restart the whole game again. It is on this list purely because when they announced the Insane trilogy, like Crash Bandicoot remaster, it made us both very, very excited, and we got very into it. We got, we were built up and built up and built up, only to buy the game and remember how hard it was, and remember that we both really, really suck. And still, to this day, even after, like, Crash Bandicoot 4 came out, like, It's About Time and all that stuff, I'll still go back to it every time, regardless of how frustrated it makes me, or how difficult it is, or how much I turn it off and scream out the window that I fucking hate it. I will always go back to playing Crash Bandicoot, and they can keep releasing them, and they keep being hard, and I'll keep sucking at them, but I'll keep playing.
Spyro.
You stole my joke.
Spyro. And at number 1, we have Spyro. I was very adamant about this being at number 1.
It wasn't his decision.
Yeah. This is my segment. So at number 1 we have Spyro. I think everybody out there knows who Spyro is. If you don't, Spyro is the purple dragon who is is Spyro a platformer game? Would you consider that?
I would consider that a
open,
like an adventure platform game.
Yeah. So Spyro is an adventure platformer game that tells the story of a purple dragon. All of your friends are turned to stone by, I think, Gordon, or something like that. All the dragons are turned to stone by a bad guy. By a magic wizard. Is it a magic?
Pretty sure so.
I'm pretty sure so. So all of the dragons in your world have been turned to stone, and Spyro, for some reason, wasn't.
Nasty Nork,
that's it. Nasty Nork has turned all of Spyro's friends into dragon. Nasty Nork has turned all of Spyro's friends into stone dragons, and Spyro and his sidekick Sparks has to go and rescue all of his friends throughout the realms to turn them back into regular dragons again. I love Spyro. Spyro did and probably still has ignited the love of dragons that I have till this day. And on top of that, I just remember being so encapsulated by, the open world aspect of it. There are literal hours of gameplay in Spyro, and I never found like an end to the fun that I was having with it. Each level was challenging in its own way. It was fun. The characters that you went up against were fun and challenging. Even the side missions that you got to do were fun and challenging on their own. And on top of that, before the Reignited trilogy that we got recently, there is a series of Spyro's game that not many people know about, but the people who do know about it quite enjoy it, and that's Spyro A New Legend trilogy. The Spyro New Legend trilogy is the Spyro games that I remember fondly, because I remember taking days off school to play the first game, Legend of Spyro A New Beginning. I remember taking days off to replay that game over and over again, and I remember Cinder being probably one of the best villains I remember as a kid. And then you end up befriending Cinder, and then you actually get to play as Cinder in the third game, in Dawn of the Dragon. They ended up turning Spyro into the dragon version of the Avatar. It's like you could unlock lightning, ice, fire, and earth. I just remember that game being so much fun. I remember the original Spyro game being awesome. The Legend of Spyro trilogy being amazing.
I agree.
Did you ever play them?
Huzzah!
Did you ever play them?
Yeah, of course I played them.
You
I'm
played
a nerd.
True.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Guys, that was our top 6. These are the top 6 games that we've enjoyed when we were growing up, and the ones that influenced us in our early gaming life, and they were really fun. If you've played some of these games, let us know down in the comments section. If you haven't, I recommend you, if you can get your hands on any of these games, I probably recommend you should. If you guys want to see any more of our stuff, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to check out all the rest of our content on the channel. If you want to see the breakdowns and you want to see the podcasts that we do on a weekly basis, be sure to check that out as well. As always, guys, keep it real, stay sexy, and we'll see you on the next video. All right, bye.
Bye.